The Dodgers have re-signed Clayton Kershaw. That's right, the Dodgers have now re-signed one of baseball's most decorated pitchers of all time. He's going to be with the Dodgers in the 2025 season. We get into all that in this edition of Dodgers Digest. Hey, this is Mike Nelson. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the 30% of you, the ones who are watching these videos, who have already hit the sub button, but 69% of you have not subscribed yet. I'm not sure why. We're the best Dodger channel out there. We're bringing you content like no one else, on YouTube. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Myself and Brad J, we're doing a great job here with the Dodgers, and great job with you guys, subscribing. Over 7,000 of you. We want to reach 10,000 before opening day. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to join me on the live stream this Friday. Every Friday morning at 9 a.m., we have a live stream here on Dodgers Digest where we talk Dodger baseball. And we're going to have even more live streams during the season. So make sure to, hit the notifications button so you know every time we post a video. Like this video and make sure to share this video as well. Let's get right into it. Of course, the Dodgers have now re-signed Clayton Kershaw. That's right, they have re-signed Clayton Kershaw. This is, of course, no surprise. The Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw have agreed to terms on a new deal, reports Alan Gonzalez of ESPN. It was previously relayed by Dylan Hernandez of the LA Times that the lefty is in camp with the club. The deal isn't official yet because, of course, Kershaw has to undergo a physical. The details of the new agreement are not yet known. And, of course, the Dodgers are going to have to open a 40-man roster spot. And that is, of course, what they're going to have to do. And several candidates to be moved to the 60-day injured list. Now, Clayton Kershaw, this is from Jack Harris of the LA Times. It's not official yet, but he's here playing catch today. Clayton Kershaw at Dodgers team facilities, playing catch, getting ready for spring training. So this is obviously doesn't come as a surprise to nobody. The Dodgers were expected to re-sign Clayton Kershaw, right? I mean, we kind of talked about that here on the channel various times, myself and Brad J. But think about it. What exactly are the Dodgers going to benefit from Clayton Kershaw, right? Now, you go to any other Dodgers YouTube channel, any other Dodgers team, feed or any of those like mainstream, channels, mainstream baseball avenues where you guys get content. They're all just going to say Clayton Kershaw, has to be a Dodger and the same old thing, right? But with me, you're going to get a different perspective. I think the Dodgers are wasting a roster spot by signing Clayton Kershaw. I really think it's time for Clayton Kershaw to retire. The guy is going to be out for basically the majority of the 2025 season. He is not going to be a contributor to the team until midway through the year. Once again, going to miss the first half of the season. He won't be ready to go until June, July, even after, who knows. And we saw what happened last year. He wasn't 100% to start off the year. And, of course, he came in at the end to kind of, he pitched, 7 games last season before getting hurt again and going to the disabled list and missing the entire 2024 playoff run to the World Series. Would the Dodgers have gone to the World Series had Kershaw been pitching? That's a very good question. What do you guys think? Would the Dodgers have actually made the World Series and won the World Series if Clayton Kershaw was on this roster pitching as a starting pitcher? Because we know Clayton Kershaw's playoff numbers have not been the best. His last playoff game was very disappointing, was unable to get an out against the D-backs, and really put the Dodgers in a tough position in that 2023 NLDS against the D-backs in a series they eventually got swept, which was an absolute embarrassment, right? Because the Dodgers were the best team that year in baseball, and they were facing a D-backs team that frankly wasn't very good. They did go to the World Series, but they weren't that good of a team. The Dodgers on paper should have won that series, even though they had those pitching injuries and all that. I don't buy it. The Dodgers should have won that series. They had Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. They had it all, right? And those guys didn't hit, and that's the reason why they lost. But the starting pitching was awful that year, and Clayton Kershaw had a lot to do with that. And Clayton Kershaw has unfortunately let the Dodgers down in multiple situations in the playoffs. The only year where Clayton Kershaw came through was during the 2020 bubble series, where, of course, he was obviously, was great. The Dodgers won the World Series, and he was solid that year. But let's not forget that was a 60-game season where Clayton Kershaw was not injured. He was 100% to start off the playoffs. When has Clayton Kershaw ever been 100% to start the playoffs? You tell me, because the last few years he hasn't. He has not been 100% come playoff time, and last year he got hurt late in the year again and had to sit out the rest of the year, and of course that's a big no-no, right? You want him out there. Now, let's fast forward to this year. Is Clayton Kershaw really needed on this team, right? Because they have so many starting pitchers. They have Blake Snell now. They got Tyler Glasnow coming back. They have Shohei Ohtani. They have Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They got Roki Sasaki. They got all these guys now. Where does Kershaw really fit in? Is he going to be more of a long relief guy? Is he still a starting pitcher on this team? I know it's a six-man rotation, but is he a starting pitcher come playoff time? I mean, looking at it, this is a totally different situation now in 25, right? I mean, last year the Dodgers were depending on Kershaw when he came back from injury because they were already so shorthanded. But now you hope the Dodgers are not shorthanded when Kershaw comes back. But, unfortunately, the way baseball is these days, these guys are all going down left and right. And there's going to be injuries, it seems, every single year. So the Dodgers have Kershaw there. He's going to be with this team. We don't know the terms of the deal. I assume it's a one-year deal, right? They're taking it year by year with Kershaw, going into his 18th year of Major League Baseball. At this point, a player retiring is no surprise. If I was Kershaw, I would have considered retirement. I mean, I think, he got a World Series ring last year, even though he wasn't part of the team last year. He was, he is going to get a ring. He did get a ring, right? Because he pitched for the Dodgers that year. He pitched 7 games. So he is a World Series champion. Once again, 2 World Series for Clayton Kershaw. Of course, only really helped out in 1. But for the record, he is a World Series champion twice with the Dodgers. I think that's a good enough reason to retire. Maybe this year move into more of a coaching role or an advising role. And not really take up a roster spot because now the Dodgers have to sacrifice one of their players to keep Kershaw, to sign Kershaw, right? And is that really beneficial to the Dodger team? What do you guys think? Is this really beneficial to the Dodgers team, or is this more of a doing this out of goodwill and keeping a legend, right? Because Clayton Kershaw is a baseball legend, right? He is going to go to the Hall of Fame. Despite his playoff numbers, he will go to the Hall of Fame because he is one of the best pitchers of his generation. He is not the best Dodger pitcher ever, in my opinion, although some younger fans may say he is. I don't think he is. He's not the best ever. He's one of the best ever, and he will go to the Hall of Fame. He will be a Dodger legend. He will be a baseball legend. So is that the only reason why the Dodgers are signing him? Because he's not really a player that the Dodgers can depend on in 2025 throughout the year. He's not a player that's going to be dependent on to start the year. He will be on the disabled list. He will not be playing. He will be injured. We already know that. Had offseason surgery. A lot of question marks again going into 2025. It just feels once again just like 2024. A pitcher who is injured and you just don't know what's going to happen and how much he can really contribute. And when he starts pitching, you hope he's healthy. You hope he pitches well, but he might not be the same Kershaw, right? Or he could come back and pitch great and then get hurt again. So I don't know. I really think this is not a popular opinion, but I think the Dodgers should have considered just letting him go at this point, letting him retire. I mean, really, let's be honest. Would Kershaw really go to another team? I don't think he would. I think he would simply just retire if the Dodgers did not sign him. As always, make sure to subscribe, and let's go Dodgers. Woo!